But we do all sorts of things. We do the Victorian detective series McLeavey with Brian Cox. We also do Sherlock Holmes, a whole variety of material. In fact, we've just done a 10-part series dramatisation of The Dead Hour by Denise Miner, dramatised by Chris Dolan. So there's a whole range. But the big question, perhaps, is what makes radio drama different from any other drama? Well, there's lots of things, really. I think that writing drama for radio, television, film, or theatre has a lot of elements that are the same. I mean, let me ask you, what does drama need to do? What's the most essential thing about creating drama, do you think? Conflict, that's very important, yeah. Anything else? Sorry? Emotion, very important. Good characters. There's one thing that drama needs to do to the audience. It needs to make them think. Yeah, that's good. Anything else? Feel, yeah. So it needs to make them feel, and it needs to make them care. And if it doesn't make them care and engage with the characters, then it's not doing its job properly. So all the things that you've said are very important. Has to have good characters, has to have a good story, has to engage the audience, make the audience think, or make them speculate as well. So these elements are very similar to drama for theatre, film, or television. But there's some things that radio can do, or that perhaps theatre can't do in quite the same way. Before I talk more about that, let me play you an extract from a radio play. And sadly for online listeners, this isn't available online. But one thing about radio drama is it's very easy to switch off. With television, you have a remote control, and quite often if you're watching something like EastEnders and it doesn't seem that exciting, you'll switch to another channel, but what you find in the other channel might not be that interesting, so you'll switch back to BBC One or whatever and give it another chance, and you'll keep doing that, you'll keep flicking. But with radio, what tends to happen is people just turn off, you know, or they either turn off or they switch to another network. So we always think that the first few minutes of a radio play is really crucial, because that's when you need to grab the audience in one way or another, either because of the atmosphere that you bring them into, or the characters, or the situation. But you've all kind of said that you would keep listening to this play. And you think you know what this play's about. What do you think the play's about? Very good. I mean, you've already got a lot there for a play, but it's possibly not enough, because there have been plays about cancer, there have been plays about people falling in love with doctors, nurses, Holby City, Casualty. What's going to make this play different? I'm going to play you another little extract from the play, and I think you'll get what the story's going to be about. Right, so so that play was by Tom Dalton Bidwell, and you would keep listening to that. So the reason why I played more of it was to show you that it wasn't just a play about cancer. It was about a play that had more to it than that. Obviously, this young boy, his dream is to sleep with a woman. He's never done that before. This charity is not the kind of thing that they offer people. So you immediately have a dilemma, and it's a real dilemma. You know, it did happen. You've probably read about that kind of thing in newspapers. And so it was an interesting thing for the writer to explore, and I think for the audience to speculate on. In fact, I played a bit of that this morning to some students, and the first thing they said to me was, "Does he?" I said, "Well, I'm not telling you." But that's another thing that you need for a good play. You need to know, you need to feel that you want to know what's going to happen next. Now, if you go to the theatre, the experience is usually you pay your money, you come in, and the curtain goes up or the lights come up, and no matter what the play's like, you can't leave until the interval. And radio, as I've said, people can turn off at will. So the story really needs to start at the beginning in some shape or form, and we need to grab the audience. The other thing about theatre is sometimes you go to the theatre and the first half of a play is all about scene setting, character building, and you know, sometimes that can be fascinating and great, but sometimes it can be a bit boring as well, and you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what flavour of ice cream I'm going to get today. There's nothing much happening on the stage. Well, they've repainted the auditorium, very nice. Great. And then you come back after the interval and it's wham, bam, whang, lots of things are happening. Now, I won't make a judgment on that, whether it's good or bad theatre. It's probably not that great theatre. But again, in radio, we don't have time to dilly-dally. We have to get on with the story. Our time slots are fairly short, you know, 45 minutes or an hour, or in Radio 3, even 90 minutes. So we've got to make sure that we're not only telling a good story, that we're exploring the characters, and we're constantly surprising the audience and keeping the audience interested. That doesn't mean that we have to be sensational. It just means that the writing has to be top-notch, top quality. Now, I've probably spoken for long enough. It's time to invite this massive audience to ask some questions. And for the people on the internet who are watching this, we're going to convince you that there's a huge audience here. There is, of course. So has anyone got any questions about radio? And maybe for the next part of the talk, I'll let you steer what we talk about.
What exactly does producing a drama on the radio involve?
What does it involve? Well, first of all, in radio, the producer is also the director, so you direct the actors. But going way back, you're also the person that has to find the material. So writers send us in plays or ideas for plays, and we then have to develop that with the writer. We then offer the commissioning editors for the different networks various projects, and when they choose the projects they want to buy, that's when the writers get commissioned. And then, even if the writer has submitted a first draft, there's then a process where they have to develop that play further, and we're like their sounding block, you know. So every time they write a draft, we'll give them notes, we'll talk about the script until we feel the script is ready for studio. Then we become a casting director, and we have to cast the actors, and then in the studio we direct the actors. And then we edit the drama, and we also write the publicity copy for the play as well, and also do the budget, by the way. So in radio, it's the producer covers a whole range of responsibilities and skills, whereas our colleagues in television have a whole army of people that do things. But they're special, aren't they, my television friends? Ooh, cut that out. Yeah, any other questions?
How long does that process usually take?
To the developing the script?
Yeah, to broadcasting.
Well, that can vary. You know, from the point when a script is commissioned by, say, Radio 4 to broadcast can be about a year, sometimes less than that. It just depends on the script, it depends on the schedule, it depends how much work is to be done. How long it takes to write a play is another matter. And some writers may write a play very quickly, others may write a play over 5 years, you know, depending on how long it takes for an idea to evolve, you know. But obviously if you're a working writer, you need to be able to write a bit more prolifically than that, yeah. So you might have lots of different ideas, and you might be talking to producers like me about lots of different ideas, and there might be some that just take a long time to find the right shape and form.